of the town hall protests say conservatives are stoking the fire, organizing opposition to the Democrats' health care plan. But are liberal groups doing the exact same thing on the other side of the debate, organizing people to show up in favor of the plan and stacking the questions at town halls? 4 citizens went to a town hall event by Senator Arlen Specter and went on the record with Greta. One of them was an Iraq War veteran who was not at all satisfied with his government-run health care plan. He wanted to ask Senator Specter why he supports giving the government even more control over health care. But the veteran ran into a problem at the event.
Did you get your question asked of Senator Specter, and did you get an answer that you were satisfied with?
No, ma'am. I sure didn't. What was funny was I got here about 12:15, and I sat in line, and we were sitting there, and what they were doing was we saw people with ACORN shirts on and SEIU, and they were all sitting there and getting all these people, and I saw this woman in front of me, and she looked like a hippie. She just did, and me and hippies don't get along, but so she was sitting there, and she calls on her phone. She's like, "Hey, where are you guys at? You need to get up here. You need to get up here." And then she's like, "All right, I'll see you in a little bit." And then 2 school buses of people coming off the bus shouting, what do we want health care? When do we want it now? And they just kept going and going and going.
When you talk about bused people, did it seem like there were organized groups that were there, or did it seem like it was constituents that just had sort of almost carpooled to go to this town hall meeting?
They were actually 2 school buses and 1 van that was also like a school bus van. And they were full of people. What we were hearing was from Pittsburgh, and they all had red shirts on and were affiliated with the SEIU or ACORN, and they were just heckling us, and they were way farther away than where we came from around here. They had real professional signs, and I talked to a couple of them on the bus that were younger, and they weren't afraid to tell us stuff, and they said that they didn't pay for the buses and they didn't know who paid for the buses. They just came down with all of them. So I don't know who was paying to bring them in, but it's kind of disgusting when they say that our side is astroturfing when it was clearly the other side was doing something that resembled it very, well.
What made you shoot video of it?
Well, I shot video of it because I thought it was awfully ironic that the media was accusing us, regular citizens, of organizing and busing ourselves in to the town halls in order to protest and voice our opinions. And when I saw the yellow school buses coming up the way, I knew that this was probably going to be important. So I started filming, and sure enough, I suspected ACORN and union representatives were being brought in, and sure enough, that's exactly what happened.
Craig, how do you know that these were ACORN members and union representatives?
Well, because they were wearing their ACORN buttons, for number one, and just openly carrying signs and basically stating, "We're ACORN."
Yeah, they had SEIU shirts and stuff as well.
What we're talking about is that if ACORN did organize and have people there, nothing illegal about that. The only problem is it might be a little bit of hypocrisy if it's what they're accusing the other side of doing.
Well, that's right. I mean, let's point out, first of all, ACORN, the national office, did confirm to Fox News that they had bussed people in today. We made that phone call. And you're right, there's nothing illegal with that. It's a free country. They brought in people from Pittsburgh. Those are Pennsylvanians. But here's what happened here, Shannon. The couple you saw there, the Rigsbys, she's a 20-year veteran. She's never been politically active one way or the other her whole life, and she started a little tea party. She wants Washington to hear her voice. She feels that there's a disconnect. She's upset about the direction things are going in the country. She feels like the deficit spending is out of control, and she wanted to be heard. Now, what happened in the case of the Katanning town hall that we saw there, only 200 people were let in, and over 1,000 showed up in the parking lot. So 80% didn't get in, and they saw these ACORN buses pull up and people get off that were clearly not part of Armstrong County, which is a heavily conservative county. Over 61% voted for McCain in the 2008 election, and they feel displaced. They feel that they didn't get their opportunity to, tell Senator Specter, hey, we're upset about this, and we want, to take this message back to Washington. Interestingly enough, when the White House is saying that there's manufactured anger, you lose the real important parts. Like, I'll tell you, I went to 2 of the 4 town halls that Senator Specter did last week, and there was a young man that stood up. He was probably 22. He was in medical school. He said, "Senator, I'm halfway through. I've got $250,000 in debt.
Wow.
What is my incentive? I'm scared of this bill." And, you know, that's lost. That's not manufactured. That's unorganized. And that message is being lost. But the folks in Katanning, and you saw the 4 that we showed just there, they're upset that ACORN would come into their community and take over.
And was there something about pamphlets or questions that ACORN was distributing, or telling people what the people on their side should be asking, what questions to ask, how to do it? Was there some kind of formal organization?
What we heard from witnesses, and I didn't see the questions, but there were pamphlets being given out apparently by ACORN folks to some of the attendees to ask certain questions in the town hall if they got to ask a question. There was organized chants, you know, here we're going to chant, what do we want in health care? When do we want it now? There was an organized effort, and the signs were more professionally made with the ACORN folks. They were pre-produced and not the homemade ones. But I talked to one of the organizers for SEIU, a woman, and she was there as well, and she said, look, we're not, you know, we're making no bones about it. We're here to balance the debate. Problem is, folks at that town hall that are on the conservative side that have questions about the president's health care plan are upset because they feel like they're being drowned out.